There we go. All right, perfect. Thank you. So BC bid registration. So first off, there's a number of things that you can do even without registering for the system or signing in. So you can browse public opportunities and download tender documentation, including addenda and amendment documents. You can browse for contract awards and unverified bid results, which we will go over later. And you can also submit bid responses to opportunities that allow for email, fax, or hard copy submissions. So you don't need an account to do any of that. You will notice here I do have one asterisk next to downloading tender documentation, and that's because there are some exceptions for what are called plan holder list opportunities. These types of opportunities are primarily construction related and often posted by the Ministry of Transportation and Transit, and they require that you join the public plan holders list before you can access the documentation. So you do need an account in order to do that. We will demonstrate how to join the public plan holders list a little later in this demonstration. So for registering for BC Bid is actually a two-step registration process. The first thing that you must do is register for a business BCE ID account through the BCE ID website. When you first register for a BCE ID, what you are registering for is a basic BCE ID account. And then what will happen is you will be sent a business BCE ID activation code in the mail that allows you to upgrade your account. So those activation codes are sent by post and can take approximately 10 business days to arrive. So we do recommend that you start the process of registering long before you think you're going to need it. It's better to be registered and in the system, since there's no cost to register, than to try and scramble and get registration done at the last minute in order to submit a bid response. Also note that each user within your company that wishes to register must have their own business BCE ID. Your business BCE ID account manager, who would be a person within your company, can set those up for you and assign usernames and passwords once the initial account has been set up. So I'm just going to switch screens here to the BC Bid public portal. Did that change screens for everybody? Perfect, thank you. So once you have your business BCE ID account, what you will do is you will come to the BC Bid homepage, which is bcbid.gov.bc.ca, and then you're just going to try to log in. So you will select login, and then you will select login with a business or basic BCE ID. I've already got information in here, which I'm going to delete. And so to register, what you're going to do is enter your business BCE ID username and password, and then press continue. First thing that's going to come up is the BCE ID terms and conditions. So I recommend reading through those carefully and then accepting those and continue. It will take you to a page that says that your terms of use have successfully been accepted. You can press continue there. And then you get this BCE ID login activity, which basically just gives you a history of the login. Personally, I like to select do not show me my account activity when I log in, but that is totally up to you. Once you have gone through these screens, you will get to our new supplier registration screen. You will notice here that some information is automatically filled out, such as your first name, last name, email address, your business BCE ID username, as well as your legal company name. This information is all pulled automatically from your BCE ID profile that you use to register with. Your job is to fill in the rest of this information. So you will need to put in your doing business as name, which could be your legal name, or maybe another name that your company operates under. So I'm just going to write in BC Bid. Position is also required, so I'm going to fill that in. You will notice down here that in the address information, only your country is required. However, we do recommend filling in your address information as if you were to win a contract award, we are required to publicly disclose the company address information as part of the award process. So if you don't have your address information in at that time, it can just cause a delay with the awarding the contract award or you receiving your funds for winning the award. So we recommend just getting that address information in right upon registration to avoid any delays. So you'll see here it will automatically fill in based off doing the drop down, and then you can simply select register. It's going to take a moment. does a little browser check, and then you'll get this screen here that says, thank you for registering with BC Bid. It does say that the first part of your registration with BC Bid is complete and your supplier account has been created. You will then receive an email advising that your registration is pending approval. The approval process is merely a formality on the help desk's part. The moment you have completed registration, you may log into your account. You can purchase the e-notification or e-bidding subscriptions if you'd like, and you can start browsing for opportunities and downloading documentation right away. You do not need to wait for us to complete your account registration. So now I'm going to pass this over to Laura so she can demonstrate how to browse for sourcing projects.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I will be sharing my screen. If you can please let me know once you can see it.
It's come up. Thanks, Laura.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. All right, good morning, everyone. So as Matt mentioned, I will be showing you how to browse for sourcing projects on BC Bid. Once you have completed your supplier registration, this is essentially what your supplier dashboard is going to look like. If you're looking to browse for opportunities, what you can do is you can either go on the left-hand side where it says opportunities, or you can also click at the top where it says sourcing and then opportunities. All right, so this will take you to the opportunities page. Please note how this is fairly similar as if you were browsing as a public. So even if you don't have a supplier account yet, you could still use the same filtering options in order to find opportunities on BC Bid. Also, please note while using your supplier account to browse for opportunities on BC Bid, by default, it will allow you to do a search by opportunities that are currently open for tender. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to remove that filtering option. All right, and then we can get started. The first option to filter for opportunities is by keyword. This is very useful if you already have in mind the type of opportunities that you're looking for. So for instance, if I'm a company that is interested on bridge projects, I can simply type that word and hit search. And then the system at the bottom will show me any opportunities that pertain to that particular keyword. Moving on, I can reset my search just to start from scratch. Now, in some cases, maybe you already heard about a particular opportunity that has been posted on BC Bid, and you happen to have that opportunity ID. Every single opportunity that gets posted on BC Bid has a unique identifier, which is called the opportunity ID. So in this case, I'm just going to enter this number because I already know about this opportunity and hit enter or click search. And if I scroll down, I should get a perfect match for that opportunity. When you do a search by opportunity ID, please make sure to enter the number exactly as it was provided by the buyer. So if there are any special characters that are part of the opportunity ID, please make sure to enter that information. And please make sure to not add a space at the end of the opportunity ID, because if you do, the system won't yield any results. Moving on, I'm going to reset my search. All right. As part of some of the additional filtering options that you have, you could also browse opportunities by status. So it's very likely that you will be interested in looking for opportunities that are currently open for tender. So you can simply select open. However, please note that you do have some other options in the dropdown. So for instance, maybe you are seeking to see what has been done in the past. So you could do a search for opportunities that are closed. So they are not open for tender at the moment, but you could still access that information if you wish to do so. Please note that in some cases, for some opportunities, you will see the status of cancel, which means that the opportunity has been canceled and no contract award has been created for that opportunity. In other instances, you might see the status of processing, which simply means that the opportunity is not open for tender anymore. You are not allowed to do a submission at that point anymore. And the buyer is currently evaluating the proposals that they have received up to that point. So no contract award has been posted. Moving on, you can also filter opportunities by opportunity type. So as previously mentioned by Jerome, there are different type of procurements that are being used by public sector buyers. So in this case, if you already know that potentially you're interested only on requests for proposals, you can simply select that option from the dropdown and look at all the opportunities that fit that particular procurement template. Next, we have the opportunity type on historical records. As some of you might know, a few years ago, we transitioned to this new BCBID application. During that process, we were required to transfer 7 years worth of data from legacy BCBID to the new BCBID system. So again, if maybe you're interested in just looking at opportunities from the past and see what has been done by some of these public sector organizations, you're able to do so. Just note that historical data is from April 1st of 2015 to December 15 of 2022. Moving on, you can also browse opportunities by economic region. We understand that these might look easier to find opportunities within your region, but please remember that BCBID relies on data entered by buyers who create these opportunities on BCBID. So what that means is that a lot of times buyers will select only British Columbia as the economic region because they want to make sure that they're reaching as many suppliers as they can. So although it might be helpful to select some of the economic regions that are within your vicinity, we typically recommend that you either select British Columbia or you simply leave this filtering option empty, just so you make sure you're not missing any opportunities that might be relevant to you. Next, you could also filter opportunities by the issue date and closing date. Pretty self-explanatory. You just want to make sure that you either select the date from the calendar or that you simply enter it in the correct format. Now, in some cases, maybe you already have in mind with what public sector organization you would like to do business with. So if that's the case, you have the option to filter opportunities by public sector organizations. Something worth to notice is you want to make sure that you enter the legal name of this organization. So for instance, if I'm interested in doing business with BC Hydro, by default, I will typically just do the search as BC Hydro and I won't get any results. However, if I type Hydro, then I will see the legal name of the organization, which is British Columbia Hydro and Power Authority. So again, you want to make sure that you enter the correct legal name of the organization in order to get a match. The next filtering option is industry category. So this one is similar to the region filtering option where you have some options within the dropdown. We have construction, goods, and services. But again, BCBID relies on the data entered by these buyers. So although in some instances it may be useful for you to use these filtering options, you might want to choose sometimes to keep this particular filtering option empty, as in some cases buyers might make some mistakes when entering the information. Finally, you also have the option to do a search by commodity codes. So this is very helpful because if you, obviously you already know the good or service that your company has to offer. So you could try to find a commodity code that matches that particular good or service. Now, please note how when I click on the drop down, all the first 20 results are animals. Nothing to be worried about. It's just we have hundreds of commodity codes. So in order to see all of them, what you want to do is you want to click on where it says see all. And this will open the commodity selector page. Please note how we have several categories. And for each of them, you will notice a plus sign next to it. As long as you see a plus sign next to the category, it means that there are multiple subcategories within that major category. So again, you might want to take some time to take a look at these subcategories just to find those commodities that best fit the good or service that your company has to offer. In some cases, you might find a perfect match. In some cases, you will select something that would be fairly similar to what your organization has to offer. In addition to that, you can always do a search by keyword. So this is quite helpful because, again, we have hundreds of commodities. So you might want to rely on this tool just to find more accurate results. Now, in this case, something that we have added recently to BCBid, it's a feature that allows you to save a specific search as long as you have a supplier account. So I will demo that by using the goods and services commodity code filtering option, as well as the opportunity type. So let's say that I'm a supplier who is mostly interested in finding opportunities that are requests for proposals. And I'm also interested on offering business administration services. So that's really my focus. So what I can do is I can go under opportunity type and I can select requests for proposal. And then under goods and services commodity code, I can type business administration services and it will come up. Perfect. I will hit search. And if I scroll down, the system will give me any opportunities that match that particular searching criteria. Now, let's say that this is usually what I'm looking for, and I don't want to have to every day go in, click request for proposal under opportunity type and goods and services, and business administration services under the goods and services commodity code. So now you have the option to save this so that next time that you log into your account, you can automatically load that search. So in order to do that, you will select the filters that you want to use. And then you want to click this star icon that is called My Saved Pages. So here you will be able to rename this particular search. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it RFP and I'm going to say Business Administration Services. Save page. All right. The way you will know that your entry has been saved is you will see that the star now will turn that golden color. So just to demonstrate how it works, I'm going to reset my filters, go back to the home of my supplier dashboard. And again, it's a new day. I want to go and take a look for that searching criteria. What I will do is click sourcing, opportunities. I will click on my save pages. I know that I name it like this, so I want to click on that. And here it is. That entry of the request for proposal and business administration services was saved, and the system is going to show me any opportunities that fit that searching criteria. So again, it's a really nice feature, especially if you already know typically what type of opportunities you're looking for, or even commodity codes that you might be interested in. Okay. Moving on, now I will go over the details of an opportunity. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to do a search for a specific opportunity that has been posted on BCBid. I entered the opportunity ID and I got a result at the bottom. Please note that at the bottom, the table will give you a quick overview of the opportunity, but if you want to find out more about it, what you will need to do is click on the opportunity ID. And this will take you to the overview page. Under the overview page, you will notice a few things. The first one is the Start Submission button. Please know that if you click this button, what will happen is the system will allow you to keep track of the opportunity. So if at some point the opportunity gets amended, you will receive a notification because you have expressed your interest on the opportunity. If I scroll down, you'll notice the RFX general information. So here you can find out what type of opportunity you're looking at, which in this case is request for proposal. you will be able to also identify the opportunity ID, if the opportunity is still open for tender, the organization that posted the opportunity, as well as the commodity or commodities they're seeking to purchase. If I continue to scroll down, again, the system will keep track of how many times the opportunity has been amended. In this case, that is not the case for this opportunity. And very important, it will also display when the opportunity was posted on BCBid and the closing date and time. Please note that the closing time is very important, and the reason being is because in this case, this opportunity is set to close at 2 p.m. What that means is if you have the intention to submit a proposal to this opportunity, you have to make sure that it gets submitted before this time. So in that case, that would be by the latest at 1:59 with 59 seconds. As 2 o'clock, it's already considered late because that's the actual closing time of the opportunity. Moving on, you will always find the delivery of submission section. This is very important because again, this is where you will find out what submission methods are being accepted by the buyer. In some cases, they might allow submissions through the BCBid website. If that's the case, it will say BCBid electronic submission. For those instances, you will also need to purchase an e-bidding subscription, which is an annual service that is $150 plus tax. Later during this meeting, I will show you how to do an e-bid submission. In some other instances, you might find other submission methods listed in there, such as email or fax. If I continue to scroll down, you will also find the summary details of the information and typically the estimated contract duration. If I scroll up on the right-hand side of the screen, you will find the RFX documents. Typically, most opportunities will include some attachments that you can download in order to review the scope of the project. In other instances, the buyer might even include some forms that you need to fill out and include as part of your response for the opportunity. Moving on the left-hand side, we have the opportunity details page. This page is relevant to you if, let's say, you have reviewed the information, but you have some questions about the content of the opportunity. If that is the case, here is the section where you will find the contact information of the official contact that is responsible for this opportunity. Please know that us, the BCBid Help Desk, we can answer questions that you might have about the functionality of the BCBid application, but we don't have any information about the content of these opportunities. So if that's the case, please make sure to reach out to the buyer responsible for the opportunity. Next, on the left-hand side, we have some other tabs. This is the Addenda tab. What this means is in the new BCBid system, we have two types of changes that could happen to an opportunity. The first one is an amendment. An amendment is considered a big change to the opportunity. And as I previously mentioned, as long as you click the Start Submission button, the system will keep track of your interest on the opportunity so that if it gets amended, you will be notified via email. However, if there is a minor change to the opportunity, which is typically a date extension or a Q&A document, that will be considered an addenda. And if there are any documents that are provided through an addenda, this is the place where you will find them. In this case, we can see that no addendas have been created for this opportunity, so we have 0 records. On the left-hand side, we also have the interested supplier list. I know that Matt will cover into more detail this particular tab, but essentially this is a place where you could add your company information in case that you want to disclose that you're an interested supplier for this opportunity. Now, please note how there's some sections here that seem to be grayed out. So the moment I click the Start Submission button, those additional tabs will be enabled. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, The moment you do that, a few additional tabs will be enabled by the system. We will go over each of those additional tabs once I demo how to do an EBIT submission for a request for a proposal. For now, I will pass it on to Matt to talk about ITQs and ITTs.
Thanks, Laura. So the ITQ, or the invitation to quote, and the invitation to tender, or ITT, do have a couple of additional tabs that you don't see in other opportunities. I've already started submission on this particular ITT. And actually, one thing I will point out first, too, is once you've clicked Start Submission, if the opportunity has multiple documents, rather than clicking on these one at a time to download, can actually come up and click this Download Documents button, and it will download all of the attachments for this particular opportunity into a single zip file for you. So now that we've opened up some of these additional tabs, one that is unique to the ITQ process is the process rules. So this is available for every ITQ, and this is basically provides a list of definitions for various terms that are used, as well as the standard terms and conditions that all ITQs go through. It is strongly recommended that you read and understand these to ensure that you know the rules of the process that you're getting involved with. These rules, as I said, will be essentially the same for every opportunity. If there's any differences, they will be included in the documentation. We also have the Inquiries tab here, which after you click Start Submission, this is where you can ask questions of the official contact. So if you want, if you want to clarify some of the details of the RFP, you can click this Compose button down here, and it will think about it here, and then it will give you like a message type, which you cannot change. It will give you your name. You'll add a question. You'll choose the drop down here. Really, it's just going to be to the official contact, and then here you can just type the question in the body here and click Send. And what this will do is that will send an email directly to the official contact who has your list of questions. And then what they can do is they can take that list of questions, put them into a Word document with the answer, and then they will post that as an addenda to the opportunity so that every supplier has equal access to that information. Please note that if you have a question through an inquiry, in general, a buyer will not respond to you specifically. They will just post the addenda because we have rules around fairness that all suppliers should have equal access to that information at the same time. That is also why generally a buyer will not answer direct questions over the phone or an email for you. They will post the questions and answers on BCBid instead. Another tab that is unique to these types of opportunities is the responses. So one thing that makes the ITQ and ITT different from, say, a request for proposal is that for these opportunities, what you are doing is you are completing a series of questions called the response form. And in most cases, you will also be filling out the pricing grid. So you're providing prices for the specific goods that the government is looking to purchase. These opportunities in general will not allow you to upload any documentation other than the response form or and the pricing grid. That is restricted.
Some of them are easy that like you and Claire can just fix. The one that I was just, maybe Brian feels like he answered that question. It didn't seem clear to me of like, here's what's expected of the city, but maybe he feels like he answered it. I don't know.
Sorry, was that a question for us, or did someone just forget to take themselves off mute?
I think somebody just forgot to take themselves off mute. There we go.
All right, thank you. So yes, the responses tab. This is where you will come and you will be able to complete your response form information, which we will demonstrate a little later when we demonstrate responding to an ITQ. However, if you are not logged into the system, you can still come here and you can download this response form. So that if you are going to reply to this opportunity, say via email or a hard copy, if those are permitted options, you have the form, you fill it out in Excel, and then you can attach that to your email or print it out and attach it with your hard copy submission. The pricing tab, this is where you will get the list of items that the government is looking for, as well as the quantity. And again, if you are not responding via e-bidding, if you are planning on doing a fax or a hard copy or an email submission, you can download these forms so that you can fill out and include with your attachment. A little later on, we will demonstrate filling these out directly through the website here. You also have an e-bidding tab. So this is if you have subscribed to the e-bidding service and you are looking to submit through this portal, this is the tab you will do that in and finalize your submission, which again we will demonstrate in a little bit. And then we also have a submission history tab so that you can see any submissions that you have started for this particular opportunity. Please note you do have options to submit multiple submissions to certain opportunities if you wish to do so, if you're able to provide different responses. I'm just going to flip my screen over here to the ITT, so the invitation to tender. As I said earlier, in some cases, especially for major construction projects offered by the Ministry of Transportation and Transit, these opportunities are called plan holder opportunities. So you have to have an account to be able to view the documentation for this. You'll notice here that on this overview tab, I have no attachments. And then once I click Start Submission, I still have no attachments. So in order to join the plan holders list, what you need to do is you need to come to this plan holders tab, scroll down, and you will click the button to join the list of plan holders for this opportunity. If you look a little farther down, you will be able to see what plan holders have already signed up. So please know that your information does become public for these types of opportunities. So if you click join the plan holders list, you will get a little pop-up that wants you to confirm and basically will tell you, as a plan holder, your contact information related to your supplier account. So your full name, personal email, and business location will be visible to other suppliers in the public. By clicking the Save and Close button, you are consenting to share this contact information. And if you do not wish to join the plan holders list, you can simply click the X in the upper corner here. I'm going to click Save and Close to add myself to the plan holders list. And as you will see here, my company information is now listed along the bottom here. So just a little context, a lot of times what these plan holder lists are used for is, as I said, major construction opportunities where you may have a company that is looking to bid, but is also going to be seeking subcontractors. So imagine a scenario is you're a plumber and you've heard about a new building being created and you want to get in on doing the plumbing for that job. So what you're going to do is you're going to come and look at the plan holder list for this to find out which construction companies are interested in this so that you can reach out to those companies and offer your services as the plumber for this construction opportunity. So this is what really allows subcontractors to be involved with some of these larger construction projects. Do we have any questions about the ITT or ITQ specific tabs before I pass this back to Laura for an e-bidding demonstration? All right, I see no questions. Laura, I will pass this back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I will be sharing my screen again. If you can please let me know once you can see it.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. All right. So as you might remember, this is the opportunity we were looking at a few minutes ago. Again, this one is a request for proposal. And what we did is we clicked the Start Submission button, which enables some additional tabs on the left-hand side. Please note how essentially most of them are pretty much the same tabs that Matt just went over for the ITQ and the ITT template. That being said, there's some differences. So in terms of what's similar on the left-hand side, just like Matt mentioned, you do have the Inquiries tab where you will be able, as long as you have an account, you will be able to compose a message to the buyer responsible for the opportunity and submit some questions that you might have about the opportunity. So that is similar. You also have access to the e-bidding tab, which we will cover in a few minutes by doing an actual e-bid submission. You have access to the submission history to review what you have submitted for the opportunity. And again, we will demo this portion as well. Something to notice is in this case, because we're dealing with a request for proposal, typically you won't see an interested supplier list. So what you want to do is click on it and the system will disclose if that particular functionality has been used by the buyer for this opportunity. So in this case, we can tell that that is not the case. And next, you also will have access to what we call the Manage Your Team tab. So as Matt mentioned a few moments ago, is You can set up some other people in your company on BCBit so they can also have access under your organization. We understand that typically when it comes about putting proposals together, you might want to collaborate with your team in order to finalize the response. So BCBit does allow you to do that in the system. To do so, you want to make sure that one, they also have an account on BCBit. And two, if that's the case, you will be able to select their name from the dropdown and add them so they can also have access to the draft that you have created for the submission of these opportunities. All right, so now let's move on to the e-bidding portion. So to do so, I want to click on e-bidding. At the top, you will have the option to create a title for your submission. By default, the system will name it submission number 1, so you're more than welcome to leave it as it is or change it for something else. It will indicate that your submission is in progress, which means that you haven't finalized it. It will also give you a submission summary. So as you are working through this submission, if you have included any attachments, the system will keep track of how many attachments you have included, as well as the e-bidding authorization section. So once you upload all your documents that are relevant to your submission, you want to make sure that you authenticate the response in order to be able to submit it. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm happy with naming my submission number 1. What I'm going to do is click to include my attachments. You can click or drag to add your files. I'm just going to give it a second to load. Something worth to notice is you can attach multiple files if you wish to do so. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. There is no limit on the number of files that you can attach to BCBit. However, there is a size limit of 500 megabytes per file. So please be mindful when preparing your response. Also, something worth to notice is that the BCBit application supports most popular business application files. So that means Excel, PDF, Word. Most of those applications, the BCBit website will accept that type of files. All right, so once I included my attachments, I'll be able to see them down here. Now I want to make sure that I save my work. I'm going to hit save. And after I hit save, again, I should still be able to see my attachments on the right-hand side. And if I scroll down under the submission summary, I should be able to see that I have uploaded so far 3 attachments. All right, so in this case, it looks like I'm pretty much ready to go. So if I go to the e-bidding authorization section, this is the place where you will need to enter the same username that you used to log into the account in order to authenticate your response. You want to think of the authentication portion as equivalent of providing your digital signature to validate your submission. If for some reason you make it to this point and you notice that this box is grayed out, it simply means that you don't have an active e-bidding subscription. So as I previously mentioned, if there is an opportunity posted on BCBit that allows BCBit electronic submissions, or also known as e-bidding, what that means is that you will need to purchase the e-bidding subscription, which is valid for 365 days from the moment in which you purchase it, and it's $150 plus tax. Something worth to remember is that subscription will only be valid under the account in which you provided payment. So what that means is if you and 5 other people also have accounts on BCBit under your company, and you are the one who purchased the subscription, it doesn't mean that everyone in the company will also have that service active under their accounts. If you need that, then each person will need to purchase a subscription. All right, so in this case, I know I do have an active e-bidding subscription because I'm able to enter my username. So I will do that. And then I want to hit authenticate. So once I authenticate my response, if I scroll down, again, I will see my summary that I still have 3 attachments in there, and I will see the entry of my username. In addition to that, now I have at the top a button that says validate and send. So I actually now have the option to submit my proposal, which is what I'm going to do now. It might take a few seconds. All right. Once you hit validate and send, you will always get this pop-up window to confirm if you're sure that you want to do this submission. In this case, yes, I'm confident that I'm all done with my submission, so I want to click I agree and submit. That your submission has been successful is because in return you will get this pop-up window that will say that your bid has been received on this date at this specific time. In addition to that, you will receive a notification via email to let you know that you have successfully made a submission to this opportunity. Please note that even though that notification can be helpful, the notification won't include any details about the submission. So it's not going to let you know how many attachments you included, what was the name of those attachments. So we always recommend that you double check your work. Also, please note that typically these are sealed processes. So again, if you want to review your submission, if you call the BCBIT help desk, we won't be able to help you with that because we cannot have access to your submission, neither the buyer, as long as the opportunity is still open for tender. So in those instances where you want to double check that what you submitted through BCBIT is correct, what you want to do is review your submission history. So on the left-hand side, you click on submission history, scroll down and notice that you will see the opportunity description. You will see the title that you created for the submission. So in this case, we did submission number 1. The status will be received. So that's how you know that you successfully made a submission. And again, you will see the date and time in which you completed that submission. Something to note, if at some point you change your mind and you decided to withdraw from the competition, the system will update that information as well. So instead of saying receive under status, it will show withdraw. Now, in this case, we already knew that. We made a submission. We had that information from the email confirmation we received. But maybe what I want to do is make sure that I included the final version of the document I wanted to share with the buyer. So to do that, you want to click on the submission title you created, and this will open your supplier submission sheet. So here on the left-hand side, you will find the details of the opportunity as well as your company information. You will also be able to see the summary details, so the total number of attachments that you included. But the difference is that on the right-hand side, you will be able to see the attachments that you included and download them as well if you wish to confirm that you included the correct attachment. Okay, so now I will pass it on to Matt to talk about ITQs.
Thank you, Laura. Is my screen changed over?
Yes.
Wonderful. So as we previously indicated, bidding on an ITQ or an ITT process does work a little bit differently from an RFP. With an RFP, you are basically building your own documentation, creating your PDFs, your Word files, your Excel files, and then uploading those to those processes. For the ITQ and the ITT, however, you're not uploading documentation. You are just answering questions and filling out price points. So I have the same ITQ up here, and there's really 3 tabs that we focus on for this submission. The first one is we're going to focus on the responses. So as I said previously, you could download this form, and then you can even fill it out and re-upload it, and it will fill in all of your answers. You would do that just with this click or drag to add a file here. So you would click on it to download, fill it out, save it, upload it back. Or if you just want to fill it out in this website and not have to fiddle around with Excel forms, you can either click on the complete response form button, or you can click on where it says company information and it has 0 out of 5 next to it here. 0 out of 5 indicates that we've answered 0 out of the 5 mandatory questions that have been included for this. So in this case, they want our company name. So I'm going to fill that in. Address. I'm going to enter my name as the rep. I'll go Matt at bcbin.com. And then in this case, it's also going to want a verification letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to drag an attachment that I have on my computer for this. You'll notice all of these are still in red until I go ahead and click Save. This is going to think about this for a moment. It's going to take me back to the overview. So I want to come back to the data. Oh, and it gave me an error there. Sounds like I was just on this page for too long without refreshing my screen, so it just timed out on me. So I'm just going to reconnect here and fill that in again. So in this case, it kept my verification letter. So let me just quickly do this again. I will hit save again. And it takes a few moments. Please note that normally it doesn't take this long once you've clicked save. We are using a test environment for this demonstration, which just doesn't have quite as much horsepower as our regular production environment. So now that I've clicked save, and it didn't give me an error, you can see here that when I come back to the responses tab, it now tells me that 5 out of 5 questions have been responded to. Again, I can click on those. If I wanted, I could edit my answers here. And you'll also see here that it's giving you, in this case, the weight of the questions. So out of the 100% this questionnaire will provide, how much each question is essentially worth towards that. Once I've got my responses in, I want to come in and do my pricing. So again, you could download one of these forms, fill out the Excel sheet, and then upload it back into this opportunity. Or you can simply scroll down to the very bottom, and it's going to tell you here. So we've got shirts, jackets, and pants. It's going to tell you that I need 25 of each per box. So I'm going to say for shirts, I can provide that to the government for $10 a shirt. Jackets, they're a little pricier because of the requirements that they have. So those are going to be $75 per jacket. And again, the pants, they need some like sturdy pants for the Ministry of Environment there. So we'll say $55 for those. When I click save at this point, it's going to do all of these calculations. Oh, and it's actually updated my price for me already. Again, comes back to the pricing tab. It now gives me the total price for the submission, how much each individual, so all the 25 shirts would be $250, the 25 jackets would be this price here, and the pants would be this price here. So once you've confirmed that this is the total that you wish to bid, like the RFP, you then come to the e-bidding tab, and you're going to enter your BC business name to authenticate. And that's, again, the username that you've logged into this account with that has the e-bidding subscription. And again, we'll give you an overview here of everything that you have submitted. In this case, we do have the attached documents. Oh, it told me I entered that incorrectly this time. I'm just going to make sure I don't have any extra spaces. Oh, wait, you know what? I was using the wrong business BC ID. That's the one I registered with, not my test account. I apologize for that. Just pasted the wrong thing. And yes, it will track the number of times you've entered an incorrect ID. Okay, now that I've entered the correct ID, it is telling me that I filled in all of the things. I have added my signature, And just like the RFP, in order to confirm this process, you need to click Validate and Send. Thinks about it for a moment. And then again, pops up with the, do you really want to do your submission? It notes here you're about to submit, and it gives you the list of things that are required. So it just wants to, it gives you an opportunity for a double check, make sure you've done your responses, make sure you've done your pricing, and uploaded any of the declarations that they require. And then you can click Agree and Submit. And just like the RFP, you have now submitted this to the ITQ. Were there any questions about submitting e-bids before we move on to contract awards and unverified bid results? All right, I'm not seeing anything in chat, so I will pass this over to Laura to briefly go over browsing for contract awards.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. If you can let me know once you see my screen.
You're good.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so now I will just do a quick overview of contract awards. So again, I'm going back to my supplier dashboard. If I want to review contract awards, what I want to do is go to sourcing, contract awards. Again, this information is also publicly available. So even if you don't have an account, you're still able to do a search for contract awards. Similar to when you're browsing for opportunities, you have quite a few different filtering options. So you can do a search by keyword. You can do a search by a public sector organization. Just make sure you're entering the legal name of that organization. Most of the time, maybe you want to find the contract award of an opportunity that you have submitted a proposal for. So ideally, you will still have that opportunity ID and use it in order to find a result. However, you can also do a search by opportunity type, or even in some instances by the value of the contract or potentially the award date. In this case, again, I'm going to go over this scenario where I submitted a response to a particular opportunity. It's been a while and I really want to know who's the winner of that contract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the opportunity ID and hit search. So if I find a result, yes, it means a contract award has been posted. And typically it will show you the details of the opportunity. So it will disclose the opportunity ID, the description, the opportunity type, and the organization that was responsible for that opportunity. It will also disclose the location in which the opportunity was issued, contact email, and then the difference is that you will be able to see the information, some of the information of the company that got the award for that opportunity. Now, please note that in some cases, yes, you will see a contract value, but that's not always necessarily the case, as the value of the contract is it's posted at the buyer's discretion. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes about contract awards is that they are typically posted within 30 days of the contract being signed. So what this means is that it can take several weeks, even in some cases, it can take a few months after the sourcing project has closed for the contract award to be posted due to contract negotiations. So again, if you do a search for a specific opportunity ID under contract awards and you don't get any results, don't get discouraged. Most likely it's just going through that process. But if you want to find out more information, just contact the buyer responsible for that opportunity. Finally, another thing to keep in mind is that contract awards for ITQs issued by core government are automatically posted 10 days after the sourcing project has closed. So for those, yes, 10 days later, you can definitely do a search for by the opportunity ID and you should obtain a result. All right, so now I will pass it on to Matt to talk about unverified bid results and e-notifications.
Thank you, Laura. So unverified bid results are a little different from contract awards. A contract award is essentially a summary of the award information once the contract has been signed and awarded. Unverified bid results, however, are simply a list of the companies who submitted a bid to a particular opportunity, and in some cases, at the buyer's discretion, the amount that they bid. So unverified bid results are typically used in the construction industry, and they're also used by our BC Timber Sales Group for timber auctions. They may be used by other teams periodically at their own discretion, but they're not very common for, say, something like a request for proposal. So one thing to note about unverified bid results is, as I said, they're just a list of who bid and the amount that they bid. The results have not been vetted, and they should not be determined or should not be used to determine who might or did win a contract award, because said for this type of opportunity, especially in construction, lowest price is not the only consideration. There are often other considerations like experience, qualifications, even specifications for building materials used and things like that. So searching for a unverified bid result works a little bit differently than searching for a contract award. So first you need to browse the list of UBRs, search for them either using the keyword or issuing organization. In this case, I know that our Ministry of Transportation hosts a lot of unverified bid results. So I'm going to look up that group. So once I have them, I'm going to click search. And then that is simply going to bring up a list of all of the opportunities that have unverified bid results listed, but you can see here there's no actual supplier information. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for the opportunity that you want more information on. So let's just say, and then you could highlight that and you could copy it. And then you paste that information into the opportunity ID and click search one more time. Oh, 1 second. My copy didn't work correctly there. Search. And this is what gives you the actual list of suppliers. So you can see here in this case, there were 5 bidders. You get to see the supplier name. Supplier location, if provided, it wasn't provided in this case because this is the test environment. In the production environment, the supplier location will be listed, and it will also list the amount that they bid. And that is essentially searching for unverified bid results. Do we have any questions on that or contract awards before we go into our brief overview of e-notifications? All right, I'm not seeing any hands or anything pop into chat. So e-notifications. The e-notification service is available to purchase for $100 a year and allows you to receive an email alert when a buyer posts a sourcing project that has a commodity code that matches one in your profile. These notifications are sent out in a single batch email that is sent by the system overnight and will contain notifications of all sourcing projects posted since the last batch of notifications were sent out. Please note the subscription is only required to get the initial notification that an opportunity has been posted. You do not need this service to receive addenda or amendment notifications from sourcing projects that you have clicked the Start Submission button on. So in this case, to look at your e-notifications, from your supplier main page here, the supplier dashboard, you would click on My Subscriptions. And this will take you to the page where you can both get your e-bidding and e-notification subscriptions. So you'll see here that this account has already purchased both of those services, and it's giving me a subscription expiration date. If you have an account that has not purchased one or both of these services, you would have an option to make the purchase right on this page. So as I said, the e-notification service here is $100 per year plus tax. It's got an expiration date. And then this is the list of the commodity codes that this account has been subscribed to. So in this case, they want to receive notifications for live plant and animal materials, accessories, and supplies, as well as mineral, textile, and inedible plants and materials. Well, I don't like those. I'm going to X those out, and I'm going to start again. So like the browsing opportunities, you can see here when we click inside here, you get about the first 20 commodity codes. They're all animals because of the way the commodity code selector page is organized. So I have a couple options here. I don't provide animals, but I do provide pens. So if I search for the word pens, well, now I'm going to get the first 20 commodity codes that have the words pen in it. And I could simply start clicking on these to say which pens that I provide. However, I have the other option also of doing this see all functionality. And what that will do is that's going to bring up our commodity code selector tree. So you'll notice as I scroll down this tree, one of these options is in bold. And the reason it's bold is because I have commodity codes in this chain added to my profile. So I can expand this. And again, we got this subcategory that is bolded. And I can keep expanding until I've found where I have selected my commodity codes. You can see here I've got the plotter pens selected under printer and facsimiles. I also have them down here because I picked something for musical instruments, one of the pens in there. So just to kind of explain how this system works, because it can be a little bit confusing, I've signed up for this plotter pens commodity code, which means that if a buyer selects this same commodity code for their sourcing project, I get a notification of it. However, if the buyer were to say, select this printer and facsimile and photocopier supplies, which is the parent code above that, instead of plotter pens, you will still get the notification because they've selected a higher tier code to the one that you have. So when a buyer selects a higher tier code, it automatically notifies all of the subcodes underneath it. And the system is designed this way so that you don't accidentally miss an opportunity by having a slight difference in what you've selected versus what the buyer has selected. Does anyone have any questions about how commodity codes work? All right, finally, just hope my screen changes over here then. This has come to the end of the demonstration portion of this presentation. If you do have any questions or if you need any assistance with the use of the BC Bid application, we would recommend that you contact the BC Bid help desk. Our hours of operation are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, excluding statutory holidays. And we can be reached by email at bcbid@gov.bc.ca or by either one of our phone numbers listed on this slide, which will be shared with all of you after this presentation. I just want to note here, please note that the toll-free number that is available BC-wide, that does not come directly to the BC Bid Help Desk. That toll-free number goes to our Service BC team. So if you contact that number, please just ask to be transferred to BC Bid, and they're happy to put you in touch with us. And I'll pass this over to Jerome for any final thoughts.
Thank you so much, Matt. So I hope this was useful for everyone. Again, if you have any questions, direct them to the contact information on the slide. Surrey Board of Trade will follow up with the location for the recording of this session. I want to thank my team for putting together the content and presenting this. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for attending.